The UPMC sports medicine experts in Central PA are here to help keep you in the game and improve your quality of life, no matter your age or activity level. Visit upmc.com/Central PA SportsMed to learn more.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Pennsylvania High School Football Report podcast. I'm Brian Linder, here with Dan Sostek and Eric Epler. Dan, let them hear your voice.
Hi.
Let them hear your voice.
Bone-in wings are better.
So now you know who these guys are. If you were like Josh Oswalt and you listen to all of our podcasts, you already knew who they were. Since we go on the podcast, you'll know who's talking. Dan's alluding to my great fumble of ordering from Wingstop 40 wings, which I led on to my great disappointment. I got them home, and they were boneless wings and not bone-in wings. I think boneless wings are an atrocity. I didn't want chicken nuggets, which get soggy anyway if you put any kind of sauce on them, which, you know, I do like the garlic Parmesan, which can get a little wet, and then I had, mushy chicken nuggets, which I was not happy.
Yeah, I mean,
moment of silence for that, Dan.
I mean, we went over this before. I don't know. I don't know why we're going over it again. But yeah, I mean, I like a couple boneless wings at a time. Like if you have like a sampler platter. But if you're getting double digits, you got to go bone in. Like it's the way of the world.
This is an important football season discussion about wings and wing selection.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at like those charts of wing sales, they go up starting in August. So
yeah, it's a season. It's the season for it. What better time to make this argument, Dan, than right now?
Yeah, exactly.
And there are plenty of people who are going to be, they do they do a little tailgating before their high school football games. They get out there and they get the wings going and everything else. So what we got going on this week, guys? Look, you guys have been out. Epler's been out. I know you guys talked in the last podcast about the Harrisburg deal. Epler, you went out to Harrisburg practice here. Heat week is underway. You kind of got to see what was going on. Shawn Lee Jr. was not out there. Major storyline going into the season, whether or not they're first of all, he's a spectacular young man. And so if he's not able to play, just for the kid, not the athlete himself, you feel bad for that. Obviously, there's an eligibility review underway for the Pitt commit and all-state quarterback for Harrisburg. They had another guy out there under center. Epler, what did you see from that practice, man?
Yeah, I mean, the Cougars are still powerful. I mean, obviously having Shawn Lee Jr. back under center is massive for them and their state title aspirations. I mean, I really believe, with Shawn Lee Jr., they're certainly a District 3 6A favorite, in my opinion. I think they're one of, if Shawn Lee Jr. Is ultimately deemed ineligible. The PIAA hearing has yet to be scheduled. His sort of last straw hearing on his eligibility. So Mikkel Shank, Jr., a transfer from Trinity, was taking the snaps under center. But look, this is as well as I do. This is a really talented Cougar roster. We talked a lot about Messiah Mickens coming over from Trinity. I only got to see him at practice at linebacker. They were running defense. So Elias Koch, their 3-star wideout, was obviously playing defensive back, and they have some really good up and coming guys, and obviously Kevin Brown, which is one of the marquee prospects in the 26 class in this class, and he's spectacular. He's going to offensive line and defensive line. He's going to play both, and obviously he's been a dominant force. And then there's guys like Kymir Williams, who's just these versatile, talented, fast, hard-hitting guys. Quincy Brandon's another one. We talked a lot about him. And the list goes on and on. So this is a really talented squad. And it was really, as Coach Cal said to me during practice, really this is a time for them to gel and learn and kind of get up to speed. Obviously, getting Shank reps is important because we don't know the status of Shawn Lee Jr. So, I mean, it was very enthusiastic. Hey, we're having a lot of fun, just what you should do in Heat Week. I mean, and get the guys together. It's more like a little mini camp, shoulder pads and helmets, no contact, things like that, just running drills and coaches barking and wolfing and talking smack on some of the guys if they got eaten up on a play. So it was a lot of fun, and Harrisburg's they're at the end, they're going to be there. They're going to be there with or without Shawn Lee Jr. And obviously we all hope it's with, because he's a hell of a guy to watch. He's a hell of an athlete. And we've certainly enjoyed covering him through the years. He's a great kid, smart kid. So those you root for him. I mean, you root for him. I mean, we're not supposed to root for anybody. That's our job. But we root for all kids. I mean, that's why we're here. So I hope it works out for him. But whatever happens, that kid's going to be fine.
Yeah.
That kid's going to be successful no matter what he does. And I think he can be really successful at the next level at Pitt as a defensive back. So we'll see. But it was fun. It was a fun couple of hours with the Cougars.
That's one we'll be watching. You guys can follow on Penn Live. He's got a hearing coming up with PIAA, Shawn Lee Jr. That is, and that'll be a big storyline and could help determine the outcome of state title race this year. So it's a major story.
It could go all the way from the state title race to the Mid-Penn Commonwealth race. Like that's how wide ranging. Ep and I talked about it a little last week. Is that I still think Harrisburg, with that amount of talent, you still have to kind of peg them as at least, even without Shawn Lee, favorites or co-favorites for the Commonwealth. But man, all of a sudden McDevitt's there regardless, but they're probably 1A, 1B now if you're replacing Shawn Lee with about a month to go. And then beyond that, even games like Cumberland Valley might be tough. Games like State College might be tough. Games like CD East might be tough. Like CD East gave them all hell last year. So there are going to be some tough games, and kind of losing that senior leader, because that's the big thing that they lose. You can talk about how good he is a quarterback, how good he is as a runner, good he is as a defensive back. He's a 4-year starter. Like, he's a 4-year starter, and that stuff is so invaluable when you're trying to get to where Harrisburg's getting. And Harrisburg will have a couple. I believe Kymere Williams, I'm not sure how much he started his freshman year. I would have to go back and look. He's probably been close to he's basically been an impact player for 4 years. But those are some leaders on the team, and I imagine Shawn's presence will be missed as much in the locker room and at practice as it is on game day.
I think those Williams guys, man, all they do is play 4 years. Like I know Kyrell, I don't know if he was an all 4-year guy, but then Kyle Williams, obviously. By the way, Kyle Williams, former Harrisburg star running back who went to Temple, hit the portal. He's at Morgan State this year. I think he'll do well there. I thought he could have played at Temple. For whatever reason, it didn't work out, but I think he'll be really well at Morgan State. But Kymere has been a really good player for them all 4 years. And really, Jarrell Britton's another one that had a really good year for them last year, kind of under the radar. Harrisburg has a lot of guys who played. It's funny because, again, I think their roster, how many kids did they have out there?
Oh, it was probably, I'd say somewhere between 32 and 38, somewhere in that. I mean, I didn't count them, but I think it was probably around that. Yeah.
One of the smallest teams at the state champ. I think the second smallest team at the state championships 2 years ago when they went to play St. Joseph Prep in terms of numbers, and they're in 6A. So it's always like unreal, like, what they do with, they probably have less kids on the team than Steel High had last year,
Yeah.
And they do what they do. So big storyline. Keep looking at PennLive.com there. We've been out. We shot some Bishop McDevitt photos. We've been out and about these heat weeks. I know Dan did a story on Jasper Sheps, who's probably one of the more underrated players in the state.
That's a kid that should, just talking to him, kid that definitely should have some offers by now. It's because it's not. He plays at a kind of smaller school, Juniata, but just a really good athlete. He plays on pretty elite 7-on-7 teams, really close with guys like Elias Koch and them. Finished 4th in the state in the high jump. So it's not just like it's not like he's picking on smaller schools or anything. He's a legit athlete. He had 1,300 receiving yards and 8 interceptions on defense, and gets to play a little bit of a more star-studded schedule this year with going against teams like Camp Hill and things like that. So I imagine he's going to have a really big junior year, and I don't think you would be able to say he doesn't have any offers after a couple weeks. So
Epler, I know you talked to the Big Oak, Tyler Merrill, from Cumberland Valley. You got something on the website for him today?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Big Oak's been, since he, we sort of heard. I think Dan and I, or who was that? It was a couple of months before his freshman year started.
Yeah, it was at media day.
Before, no. This is years ago, and I was talking to Coach Oswald, and it was like I said, it was sometime in June before he got to campus his freshman year, and it was like one of those mythical characters. You know what I mean? It was one of those, hey, Ep, you got to see this kid. You got to see this kid. And obviously, as soon as he got on campus, he's such a big, this magnanimous creature. You know what I mean? And then all the buzz started when West Virginia was the first to offer him. I believe it was, I don't know, maybe a month after his freshman year. Just started the onslaught. So I got a chance to talk to him at media day a couple weeks ago. And right before he headed out, he came early to media day so he could head out to Notre Dame. There was a camp out there, and there's sort of, I think they call it grill and chill out there. And then he had 2 days later, he was in Ann Arbor at Michigan's thing. And then he said, I'm shut down after that. He said, with the occasional Saturday game day visit during the season, play Friday night, head to a Penn State game or a Michigan game or whatever on a Saturday. He's like, now it's tunnel vision going into his junior year. So, yeah, I mean, he's another one of these, guys that just, he embraces every opportunity he gets. I think some kids don't love the recruiting process. I think Tyler actually enjoys it. I think he gets himself in the right frame of mind, when he goes to these places and he gets to compete with other guys that are either committed to the schools or are uncommitted, 2026 guys. Everything. He just goes full bore at everything. Weight room. I mentioned some of his targets in weight room. I think he's squatting like 5 1/4 now, and he wants to get his bench press to 400. Coming this season, and it just everything's big surrounding Tyler Merrill. Being 6'5" and 310 or whatever he is, everything's big in his world, and I think he has the right frame of mind and sort of that right guy to lead the next wave of linemen coming through, and obviously beyond linemen too, but first and foremost, that's where his expertise is. So he's he's a fun kid to talk to, and we've enjoyed tracking his progress. He's up to 25 offers now. I mean, he can go wherever he wants, and but yeah, he's going to have a monster year. He's going to have a monster year, and they're going, and Cumberland Valley needs him to have another monster year to get a breakout guy like Starrett's last year. Because they got to be able to run the football. Till Grant Shepley gets his feet, firmly underneath him, which I don't think it'll take him very long because he got the last 6 game starts last year. But that's such an important part of Cumberland Valley is that rushing attack.
Yeah,
so,
especially with Caden Pines.
That's where Big Oak comes into play big time.
Yeah, so we got a lot of good stuff. We did preseason, mid-Penn All-Stars. We'll have like a preseason All-PA kind of look, All-Star team 2 coming up on PennLive.com. You guys have got divisional breakdowns from the Mid-Penn Conference coming. We've got, all kind of stuff. Newcomers to watch, guys with college offers will be on there. Like I said, we'll have some other Pennsylvania type prospect pieces. It's football season, guys. We're rolling. We're already kind of planning on what games we're covering the first week, looking at scrimmage schedules. It's an exciting time of the season. And this week, guys, we talk a lot about the mid-pen because we're in Central PA, but we definitely want to get back to getting some of the top guys from around the state on here. And we got one as our guest, Matt Sieg, the quarterback from Fort Cherry. So why don't we go ahead and get into that interview?
The UPMC sports medicine experts in Central PA are here to help keep you in the game and improve your quality of life, no matter your age or activity level. Visit upmc.com/Central PA SportsMed to learn more.
All right, guys, and we have our guest this week. Big guest. We try to have some of the top guys from around the state on the PI High School Football Report, and we got one. We got Fort Cherry quarterback Matt Sieg. Matt, how you feeling, man? How's we're just a couple days away from getting this season rolling, man. How you feeling? How things looking out Fort Cherry way?
I'm feeling great. Team's looking good. We started camp Monday. Everything's coming together pretty good. A lot of energy within the team. We're excited.
Matt, like I said, I remember as a freshman seeing you like filling up the box score, doing everything for you guys, and I think you guys weren't that great like your first year. You turn around, you make a run to state championship last year. How fun has this ride been for you at Fort Cherry, and what's all of this been like for you?
It's been unreal. I mean, my freshman year, we had a good year from what we'd been having previously. We lost in the WPO quarterfinals, but it's been great. Like last year was unreal. Just the amount of support we got from the community, and people coming out and seeing games. It was pretty cool.
Yep, and Matt, obviously you kind of make that progression right to where you get to the state championship game last year, and you're going against a team that had won a couple state titles already recently, and I'm sure you guys probably took a lot from that. I'm sure you guys are kind of using that as fuel a little bit. But what did you guys learn when you got to that state title game against Steel High, and what can you take from that heading into this coming year?
We just learned to never get comfortable. I mean, no matter how good you think you are, you just have to have that mindset that there's always someone better, and that's really what's pushed us through this offseason, how we're trying to get better every day.
Matt, I got a couple questions for him. It's Eric Epler. Hey, first, before you came on, we were trying to untangle this bone-in or boneless wing argument. Where do you fall on that side?
I'm a bone-in guy. I like the bone-in.
All right.
Matt, I ordered like 40 wings from Wingstop, thinking I was going to have wings all weekend, and I got home and I found out that they were boneless wings. So I was like super disappointed. Look, I'm a dummy too. You guys were what, 8-4 2 years ago, and
yeah,
a lot of teams would have killed for that. So I don't know why I was thinking that. I do remember though, guys, it was ridiculous because I do this list, and I'll let Ep get back to this questions. I go down rabbit holes like this. I'll talk up and down, I tell you. But it was ridiculous, guys. When I do this list of the state's top performers on PennLive every week, and it was like Matt, I would go over to like the Tribune or Post Gazette, and Matt would just be like, every stat category you could think of, this guy Epler like was filling it up for Fort Cherry. So it was insane. That's how I started like putting this kid on the radar. So like for us, but what else you have for him, man?
Yeah, we watched plenty of film on Matt, and obviously, regarding All-State and things like that. The bio that came in on you, Matt, which like I said, we knew about you. We watched you play, obviously, in the championship game. Put our eyes on you, and then but your bio was spectacularly written. I'll just tell you that right now. Anyway, all right, back to let's flash forward to this season now too. Is there anything specific? I mean, obviously, one of the best dual threat QBs in the state. You certainly proved that last year with, I think you're almost 4,000 yards or something like that. It was close. What specifically do you want to work on? Do you want to get better at? I mean, obviously all phases of the game you want to get better at, but is there something specific that you're working on going into this season?
Yeah, from a quarterback standpoint, I've really been just, working on my footwork and my progressions, and just being a little bit quicker on my reads, and just working on getting the ball out faster.
And how's the running back stable? Obviously, I know Ethan was a huge part that last year and that success in getting you guys to the final. How's the running back stable shaping up? I know we're only 3 days into Heat Week, so there's a lot of work ahead until you guys get to the first week. But how's that stable working out?
It's great. We're really deep at running back. We got about 6 guys that could honestly play. A lot of real speed, a lot of size. For any situation you could think of, we got a guy. It'll be good.
Yep. And Matt, I'm always interested in people kind of, in your shoes, right? Where you're on a team with state title aspirations, but it's also a big year for you individually, right? With your mountain college offers, you're obviously a blue chip recruit that probably getting a lot of texts, a lot of phone calls, a lot of things of that nature. Do you have how do you kind of handle kind of this recruitment process? Because every time I talk to kind of a recruit like you, I can't really imagine what it's like for you guys. Just do you feel like you have a pretty good grasp on where you are in that process, and are you just kind of taking it day by day?
Yeah, I'm taking it day by day. I'm just trying to build relationships with the coaches at the schools that I'm really interested in, and then I just seeing where it goes. I think I want to make a decision somewhere next summer, so just feeling it out until then.
Yep. And are you being recruited more as a offensive player, a defensive player? Just kind of, do they just kind of tell you they view you as an athlete, and we'll see where you end up? How does that part of the process work?
I'm mostly defense. I'm mostly being recruited as a safety.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a few schools that want me as a slot receiver type guy, but I'd say the majority is safety.
And who is there any film, either offensive or defensive players, that you kind of enjoy watching, that you sort of model your game after? I'm sure there are quarterbacks you watch and then defensive backs you watch. Anyone in particular that you kind of modeling your game after a little bit?
Yeah, quarterbacks. You can't go wrong with Lamar Jackson. Obviously, I like to run the ball a lot too, so I think a lot of him. I watch a lot of him. I watch his highlights all the time. And then defensively, I'm a big Steelers fan, so I like Minkah Fitzpatrick a lot.
Pretty good one.
You're a junior. Obviously, you got Southern Cal recently. Penn State was your first D1 offer. Who else is on that list, Matt?
I got Nebraska, Pitt, Wisconsin, WVU, Rutgers, Missouri, just to name some. There's probably some of my top schools there.
Penn State being the first D1 offer, for a lot of guys, that's huge. That's a great first D1 offer. What was it like when you got that first offer? And I know Dan talked to you about maybe how you navigated it and how you plan to navigate it, but what has the attention been like? And especially when you're getting this life-changing type of attention, right? Where you're going to get to make a really good decision somewhere, like you said, in the next year or two. What has that attention been like from each school?
From Penn State, it's been great. Obviously, they were the first to jump into my recruitment, and it was pretty cool getting that call. It was right before the whiteout, so it was really cool to talk to Coach Franklin. And then I've been up there a few times since then. So my relationship with them is really good. And then that's just what I'm trying to do with a lot of my top schools. Just, get to know most of the coaches that I'd be working with, get to see the school, get to see how the program works, and everything the ins and outs of the programs, and a good school.
Matt, you mentioned that obviously your decision's a little ways away, but how important is proximity to home for you? Obviously, having family being fairly close by to come and see you play is a factor for most. But how do you view that?
I think that's it'd be cool, definitely. That's not my biggest thing, I'd say, but I think that definitely can't hurt. If you know what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. Well, you can get, Nebraska's only a 2.5 hour flight too, so you can get pretty much anywhere in about 3 hours.
When you're a
right?
4-star, you can get anywhere you want. I feel.
Yeah,
you're a big
right.
recruit.
But I'm just saying, for the less hassle, because you got it's a Friday flight. You're playing Saturdays. I get it. So sometimes that's it's a big factor for a lot of recruits we talk about. I always ask that question because East Coast football is different than Midwest. It's different than West Coast, obviously, and obviously you've got offers from all around. So I was just curious how you view that being fairly close to home and go from that. It's a big factor. like I said, we mentioned Matt a couple weeks away here from the regular season. I'm not going to tell you where Fort Cherry is going to be ranked in the preseason rankings, but do you guys look at that? Does that matter to you? I mean, obviously, it's a long 16-week sprint to get to where you guys want to be. But how much do you guys look at things like that?
I mean, not really. I mean, we'll see them, and if we're up high, great. If we're not, we'll just work harder. I mean, it's not really big to us, but I mean, it's definitely good to see whenever we are ranked highly because we're doing things right.
Yeah, and Matt, I just want to get some clarity. Are you a 4-sport athlete So you're very I don't think there are many top 250 recruits that are 4-sport athletes. You probably have a couple 3, but so you play baseball and track in the spring, and I know I saw you at the track and field championships, and you play basketball as well. How much do those sports kind of help you on the football field? Because obviously you're going to be playing football at the next level. Unless I know you're a pretty good baseball player and track person too, but how much do those kind of build in and in this era of specialization to be kind of a 4-sport athlete who's good at all 4 sports? How much does that help?
I think it helps a lot. I mean, I've always played all the sports that I could. I love sports. But everything plays into football. I feel like. I mean, baseball. I play center field and shortstop. So, I mean that'll help you track balls as a safety, or all the little things like that. Basketball, good with the change of direction, and then track, obviously, it's speed. So, I feel every sport has something that can help you improve with something upon your game for football.
The man stays busy. It feels like he doesn't come off the field in football too. So
yeah.
Matt, I'll ask you real quick. Outside of football, what's your story? Who is Matt Sieg, and what would you tell people is your story outside of football?
I mean, I've always loved sports. I've always been playing sports since I could walk. I never really, played with the normal kids like toys or whatever. My parents didn't really, spend money on that stuff. My dad he's been a football coach, so he's been coaching for 28 years, I think. So ever since I could walk, I've been running around to his practices, doing drills with him in the backyard and stuff like that. So he's been a big part of my success so far, and hopefully it doesn't stop here. But I mean, mostly all sports. In my free time, I like to golf. That's about it.
You got 2 more seasons, man.
Yes, sir.
You've been to the state title. I mean, a title game. How much of you got to win one, right? I mean, how much is that a driving factor over these next 2 seasons?
Oh, it's huge. That's my ultimate goal. Obviously, our team's ultimate goal, and that'd be super cool to bring one to Fort Cherry because it's never been done before in football, at least.
And you mentioned your dad's a coach. I just find that because Fort Cherry's got 2 pretty notable former NFL head coaches as alumni, right? They've got Marvin Lewis and Marty Schottenheimer. Has your dad ever got to meet any of them? Being obviously in the Fort Cherry area, did they ever come back and kind of talk to the program at all?
Kurt Schottenheimer came back and talked to the team a few. I think it was last year, but not really. My dad coached at a different school. He coached at Keystone Oaks, and then he's been coaching at Fort Cherry for just the past 4 years. So relatively new here.
Yeah. And but pretty good legacy there, and he's doing a pretty good job himself. So maybe one day he's on that Wikipedia page alongside that.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, Sieg, I'm sure I mispronounced your name 2 or 3 times during this interview. I don't know why it's just the South Carolina. It says Sieg, but Sieg, dude, keep doing what you're doing. Keep in touch with us. Hopefully, maybe you get back to the state title game. We can have you on going into state title week. But we've always been watching what you're doing here in Central PA, and we've talked about you plenty of times on my PA High School Football Report. Man, we appreciate you coming up, guys. I didn't ask you if you had anything else for him. We got anything else from Matt?
No, it's good, Matt. Just stay healthy, man. We'll see you soon enough.
Yeah, we're reading all the headlines about you and getting you on the state list this fall, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, guys, that was Matt Sieg, the quarterback from Fort Cherry. Guys, what did we take from that? What did we learn from Matt Sieg today? How's the fact that I said they didn't do very well when they were 8-4. And I look silly, but
yeah, I mean, we've only got to see him in person. I imagine we're all in the same boat. We've only seen him in person once, but just even in that game when Steel High kind of had their way, there were a couple flash plays, particularly on defense, where you can just see how well that kid moves in the secondary and why he's got the offers he does. And then just talking to him, he definitely sounds like a coach's kid. Like that's first. He's obvious. He was very sort of. He seems very sort of focused on the team. Didn't do a lot of, hyping himself up. He asked him how everything's going. He gave a scouting report of Fort Cherry, not a scouting report of Matt Sieg, which I think is kind of always an interesting litmus test of it. But I'm really excited to see how big of a year he has because he's been dominating that class in the Whippeal for 2 years now, and he's only going to get better. So with that room for growth, he might. I know you can't exponentially increase your statistics. There's a bar you can get, but he's going to be. If you're playing high school fantasy football, he might be up there in your the top picks for this coming year because he's going to run for a lot of touchdowns. He's going to throw for a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've been at this a while, obviously, but I don't know how many guys there were in my time that were in the 4,000 yard club. Total yards generated 4,000 total yards, and that's not really official because you don't generate the passing yards. But he was right around 3,900 yards total between passing and rushing. At 2,200 yards rushing last year, and 59 total touchdowns. Yeah. I mean, his work alone, he supplied 260 points. I mean, we've got probably a dozen programs that didn't score 260 points.
Yeah.
And obviously they had a few more games, leading him to the state title game against Steel High. But I mean, he's just one of those guys that he's a gamer, no matter what. We talked earlier in the show about Shawn Lee Jr. being like a versatile dual threat guy. That's what Matt Sieg is. I mean, he's so much fun to watch. He's so athletic. And no matter what the scoreboard says, he's going to keep punching and punching until the final whistle. And that's why the team is where they are. They're going to be another major player again in single A. And yeah, I expect, and he's got 2 more years of this. So he's the guy we're going to be talking about for a while now. So yeah, congrats to Fort Cherry. Congrats to Matt. Yeah, if he stays healthy and keeps racking up yards like that, I mean, we'll be talking about records, in his pocket, in a couple of years. So, yeah, he's fun to watch.
Yeah, and I like too that, again, he's getting a lot of it. Look, the kid just got off from Southern Cal. He's starting to get a lot of attention. He's certainly a star, his hometown. And, I hit him up yesterday and said, hey, you want to come on the podcast? And right away he was like, yeah, I'll be there. And he came on, and I think you see he's a pretty darn good kid. You can just tell. And there was no secrets about what Fort Cherry was doing last year, and he still got those, 4,000 yards and 59 touchdowns. So I agree with you. I think they'll be in the mix again across the next 2 years. I wouldn't shock me to see him at Cumberland Valley at least once more. But it was good to get him on there. Like I said, we're going to continue to try to get some of these top guys from around the state. Then we got a podcast this week. We won't get into how badly, I can beat Dan in EA Sports college football.
All right, I'm not letting you. No. I'm not. No.
Listen, there was so much.
I'm not letting you lie. I'm not letting you lie. I absolutely destroyed Brian.
And Dan whipped you with Kansas.
Dan,
I absolutely destroyed you. I'm not letting you defame me like this. I destroyed you. It was embarrassing, and you kept making excuses like
we're going to watch.
Oh, the game is broken.
Dan, here's what we're going to do, Dan. We're going to live stream it and have Epler announce it.
I can't. I'm still baffled how Kansas whooped you. Still baffled.
Kansas is actually really good on that game.
Well, that's what most people would say.
You were Notre Dame. You were a better team.
You know what else is tricky on that game? Their defense is terrible, but Vanderbilt.
I think you're just really bad at the game. I'm pretty convinced you're bad. Like,
difference, dude. Vanderbilt's quarterback. He's good.
Yeah, you're probably
There's
bad.
Teams on there. There's a lot of sleeper teams on there, man.
You're just bad.
You get Miami, you put their 13 tailback in there. He's got a 98 speed.
You're just bad.
Dan, I said, Dan, get on them sticks last night. And he said, "Oh man, no, I had to call some football coaches. I can't do it, man."
I mean, it's not fun to beat you 38-14 every game.
Ducking Dan. I'm gonna get you a shirt. Ducking Dan.
You don't get to say that after I beat you. I don't think anyone wants to hear this.
You want to line it up, Dan. Just let me know when you want to line it up today, Dan.
Just blame it on that fractured thumb, Brian. You know what I mean? You got, little spiral fracture, get you out 6 weeks, give you a chance to bone up.
We'll revisit this, Dan, on another podcast. But for this week, I think we got a podcast. Dan, tell them how to find you on social media.
Dan_Sostek.
Yep, tell them how to find you.
I'm at 3Jacker.
And I'm at Sports by B. Linder. I will be posting screenshots from the next time I play Dan in EA Sports College Football. I will come with receipts. And also make sure that you guys check out PennLive.com. Like I said, we got a bunch of stuff out there and a bunch of stuff coming. Tom B. Martini's been dropping a lot of football interviews too. Evan Wheaton's got some stuff coming. It's that time of the year, folks. It's football season. Till next week. We'll see you then.
The UPMC sports medicine experts in Central PA are here to help keep you in the game and improve your quality of life, no matter your age or activity level. Visit upmc.com/Central PA SportsMed to learn more.